I'm going to get canceled and they're all going to say bad things about me. If I walked in and my girlfriend was watching Sex and the City, I'd say turn that off. Why? Because it's garbage. It's garbage that's bad for your mind. There's unlimited things you can watch. You're not watching that. Now, I've never had that problem, but that's what I would say. And if she refused, I'd say, well, you're not watching that in my house. I'm not mad at you, but I want you to go home. I don't want you watching this stuff. It's bad. It's poison. What should I watch instead? Watch about Stalingrad. How much do you know about Stalingrad? What's Stalingrad? Oh, what's Stalingrad? 200,000 men froze to death in the city in 1948 and 1943, and you don't even know what happened for your freedom. Men were out there freezing to death with no food to eat, encircled. For your freedom, you don't even know about it. You don't even have enough respect to learn about it, and you're busy watching Samantha? Fuck Samantha, she ain't real. This is real. Men went and died for real. They were sitting in Stalingrad. You're the Germans. You attack Stalingrad. You have nearly all of the city, but maybe 2% of it. Zhukov counterattacks, encircles you, and they're blasting from speakers for months as you starve to death. You are here to die. You will never see Germany again. You are going to die here. Paulus, the commander, kept asking Hitler, can I make a breakout? Can I leave? Hitler said, no, fight to the last bullet. You're there to die. The Russians know it, you know it. You have no food, you're freezing to death. And you're sitting there for your ideological cause, and the women of today don't even bother to read the Wikipedia page. They're busy. Samantha's on. No, you don't have time for Sex in the City. You can learn a lot about sacrifice. We'll learn about female sacrifice and masculine sacrifice. But I'm telling you that's not going to be out of my house because you don't know enough about Stalingrad. When you know everything about Stalingrad and HMS Hood and the Bismarck, when you have World War II and World War I completely memorized and you know more than me, you can watch fucking Sex in the City. But until then, you have more important things to learn. That's my creed. That's my house. That's the kind of woman I want. And when I say this, there's women out there who go, you're crazy. They're going to talk. They're going to attack me on the internet. But I'll tell you what, I've never had a woman I'm with ever disagree with me. Ever. She's like, okay. And then we'll sit there and we'll watch a documentary on Stalingrad and she'll go, you know, it's crazy what men go through. We don't even think about this. It's like, yeah, you're right. You don't think about the fact that right now, as we speak, 5 hours drive away in Ukraine, there are men dying in a ditch because they're not allowed to leave the country by law, and all the women have moved to Warsaw. And they're sitting in safety. And every single military-age man is dying in the mud. Who gives a shit? Nobody. Who cares? No one. But women probably have new men by now. It's hard being a man. Masculine struggle should be respected by all genders, male and female. The more we respect masculine struggle, the better the world's going to be as a whole. So yeah, especially if you're a man in a relationship in the Western world, you have to be very careful what psyop is going into your woman's mind. Another thing, this goes down to complete basics. I've had girlfriends before. If you're going to complain about our relationship or complain about me to your friends, we may as well just break up now. Because you're just going to complain about negative shit about me to them. And then you're not going to mention me for 3 months, and you're going to complain about the next argument. And over a year, all they're going to hear are these arguments. None of the good stuff in between, none of the smiles, none of the holding hands, none of the kisses, none of the hellos, none of the times you made me a coffee and we hugged, none of the good stuff, just the bad stuff. And she's going to be a negative force in your ear, and you're going to go out with her, and she's running her mouth in your ear. You're listening to her. She hasn't even got a stable relationship. I don't know why she has any opinion, because she's miserable. Like, what is all this garbage? You have to protect the minds of the people you care about and love. I protect the minds of my children and the woman I love. That does not make me a misogynist. I don't care what they try and say about me. I'm not a misogynist. I just care about the people I love. And I want the absolute best for them. And I want them to understand me and me to understand them and us all to understand struggle and the values of the creed and the values of the last name and do our best for each other. That makes me a bad person in the modern world. But to answer your question, if she was with you longer, she would have changed her mind.
I was with her one night. Let me ask you a follow-up question, because I think you bring up such a good point. Women of the West versus the women that you've been associating with in Eastern Europe, and the sexual liberation and the feminization and everything that goes on in the West. One of the biggest comedians in the West is a woman called Chelsea Handler. You know who this is?
I've heard her name. I know her face.
You talk about Samantha from Sex and the City. She is the epitome of that. She's pushing 50. She talks about she doesn't need no man. She doesn't need no kids. She's happy by herself. She's drinking alcohol, chugging vodka, taking pills, masturbating all day. And that's her life. That's her ideal life. And she's encouraging women to be that. You might not know who she is, but you have a framework of who she is.
Yeah.
Thoughts on women that go down that path, and then who is that woman of Eastern Europe? Is there anyone in Eastern Europe pushing that agenda here where you live?
Zero. Literally, genuinely zero. None. If you're a man and you're dating in Eastern Europe, the biggest problem you're going to have is that every single woman you're dating is going to want kids within about a month.
In a month.
About that. If you're a man, and especially if you have some money, and not because they're gold diggers, because you're a man, you have to take care of them. If you're a man and you can take care of her, and she knows you can pay the bills, and you've been dating her for a month, and things are going well, she's going to start saying, when are we having kids? That's her goal. Her goal is to find a rich man who's going to give her children, not because she's a gold digger, because she wants a family and she wants to be taken care of, and that's what she wants. Completely different motivations than the West. When you talk about women who look up to Chelsea Handler, that's because they don't have an equal and opposite force. This is how we save the world, by making men worthy of respect. A woman like that, if she dates a man, unless she respects that man, she's not going to adopt that man's creeds. So you need to make a man worthy of respect. So when she's listening to Chelsea Handler garbage, hopefully he gets her early enough and her life's not completely ruined, and she meets a man of quality who she respects, who says that's not the correct way to live, and she goes, you know what? I love you. If you don't think that's the correct way to live, I'm going to try living your way. And they'll naturally incline to that. I'm going to make sure this argument isn't gendered before I get attacked for being a misogynist, because this happens with other genders too. This happens with men. If you take one lazy idiot and put him around 5 killers, he'll either improve or leave. It's one of the two. He's not going to stay the same and stay part of the group. That's peer pressure. That's how it works.
The best kind of pressure.
It's the best kind of pressure.
Positive peer pressure.
Absolutely. So it's the same with everybody. Everybody influences everyone. And a lot of these women, the reason they follow these paths and do this destructive stuff is because they don't meet a man they respect enough who can put them on the right path and save them. And save them. I would like to think there's women who I'm no longer with, and I'm not going to give any details of because I don't kiss and tell. There are women whose lives I saved. And I will say that. There's women who I met in a nightclub, and they got with me for a few years, and they weren't clubbing anymore. They stopped all that crap, not talking to them stupid girls who are doing that stupid junk. Nothing. They were a good girlfriend to me. We broke up. Then they met their next man. Now they're married. Moved on. I would argue that if I left them in the club scene, they would not be married right now. They would certainly not be happy. Not like they are now. I literally saved their lives by just saying, there's more to life than that garbage.
Tate, crazy question for you.
Sure.
If the audience is looking, and only you know the answer to this, you and your brother,
Yeah.
Have you been with more girls or less girls that the world thinks? Do you know what I'm asking?
I know exactly what
And
you're
there's a reason why I'm asking this. I'm curious to know what you think.
Okay. It was a curve. So when I was younger, it was a lot more than people think. And now it's a lot less than people think.
Okay, got it.
So there was a time when the number was ridiculous. But as I've grown older, I have completely lost interest in it.
When was that?
I think,
what age?
Yeah. I think once I got past 30.
By the way, this is a very important topic here, and you'll see where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I think a lot of it wasn't even particularly just with my age. I think a lot of it was to do with my influence and also the way the world was changing. Women are a massive attack vector. In my current life.
Massive what?
Attack vector.
Attack vector.
They're an attack vector because they are a weakness. On the chessboard, if you can't attack the king, you attack the queen. The queen has to move. It's an important piece. I say this to any woman I'm with. You are the queen on the chessboard. You're an extremely important attack vector, and I'll give you examples of it.